Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Chromatic Cube draft, and we're just going to slam down a pick one, pack one here. So this time around I'm a little interested in scooping up something like a Kolagon's Command. This card has been very good against me every time I've seen it cast. It's just always got some relevant abilities, often getting a nice 2-for-1, both dealing with a creature and blowing up an artifact, or just dealing with something on the board, making your opponent discard a card, anything like that. Any combination of these effects has tended to be pretty good for my opponents, so I'd like to try out a bit of Kolagon's Command here. There's also Electrolyze, which is another very good value spell, being able to deal with one, or if you're really lucky, two targets and draw a card. There's some monocolored cards that are good here because they'll leave us open to whatever colors we want to end up in. But again, in the Chromatic Cube, there's so much mana fixing, as you can see in this pack, multiple duels and a mana rock here, that you're definitely a lot more open to taking dual color cards right off the bat. But the monocolored cards here are quite powerful. For Phyrexian Arena, we used in our last deck as a powerful draw engine, making sure we're drawing 2 a turn. Biogenic Ooze can be a finisher all on its own, just by dumping mana into making more Ooze tokens. And even like the Nadir Kraken in blue there seems solid. But I'm just going to slam down a Kolagon's Command. This card has always impressed me from my opponents, so we'll see if we can't use it ourselves here. So what do we have now? Sir Gwyn's such a weird card in this cube because, yeah, it is a big, powerful card, but the kind of deck that wants to play a lot of equipment in this cube is going to be a really aggressive deck, and at that point I don't know if you want like a 6 mana 5/5, so not so sure about Sir Gwyn, although she is in our colors here, red-black. We could go for red-white-black. There's like Leyline Tyrant here, which seems like a solid flyer with a good ability when it dies, dealing some extra damage to our opponents. There's Eradicator Valkyrie here, which is just good at shredding planeswalkers, so it's good against Super Friends kind of decks with lots of planeswalkers in them. And there's just some dual lands, or an off-color card here. We could go for like Jund with a Fauna Shaman. We could go for Grixis and grab a Rutha, double up our spells like Kolagon's Command. Kind of just like taking one of these good aggressive black or red cards here, Leyline Tyrant or Eradicator Valkyrie, and I think Leyline Tyrant's a little better just because it's going to be good against any deck, whereas the Eradicator Valkyrie really excels against specifically Planeswalkers. What do we have now? Kazul's Fury, I guess, but I feel like this is a card for an incredibly aggressive deck. Not something we really want to slam this early. Maybe a Shimmerdrift Veil, very similar to Evolving Wilds or Terramorphic Expanse in that it just comes into play tapped for whichever color you need it to be, so definitely solid. Strictly worse than the Thriving lands though, but a solid dual land to be able to choose from. We could take the blue-red duel here and try to go Grixis, but we don't really have a reason to be in black right now. Or a reason to be in blue right now, my bad. Yeah, this pack isn't that strong either. I do like the Gitrog monster. It's a really fun commander to build around, but I don't know how well it's going to work building around it in this cube. You want a lot of lands that like sacrifice themselves. You want tons of cards that ramp you out really quickly. Yeah, I guess I could try it. Just slam down a Gitrog monster. Maybe we can be like a Jund lands deck. That would be pretty fun if it does actually work in this cube, and Terramorphic Expanse is exactly the kind of land that works really well with the Gitrog monster. If we were drafting commander decks here where I knew that the Gitrog monster was just always accessible in my command zone, I would slam this Terramorphic Expanse, but because this isn't commander and we will have to draw the Gitrog monster to start drawing cards off of it, I'm probably going to have to just take the black-red duel here, or the Price of Fame, just some good removal, just a good card in general. I don't think I should be taking Terramorphic Expanse that highly just because it is fun with Gitrog Monster. I think removal is pretty important to take highly in this cube. The removal in here is not the greatest ever, so when you see it, pretty important to grab it. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop up this Price of Fame here. 4 mana to destroy any creature and Surveil 2, or 2 mana to destroy a legendary creature and Surveil 2. Very good rate either way around. So, I'm not seeing anything super exciting for Jund here. We have Rishkar, which wants a lot of creatures out. Inscription of Abundance, which also only really works if you have a good creature out. And then there's like Krenko here, which is pretty aggressive. Gives you a lot of little 1/1s you could sacrifice for stuff. Might just take a Sulfur Falls here, leave us a little more open to maybe going Grixis instead of just Jund here, depending on how things go. And it leaves us more open to just multicolored in general. Yeah, none of these blue cards are powerful enough for me to take them before I take blue duels. I'll just take a Sulfur Falls here. We have a Blood Crypt. I should probably slam that down pretty early. We're definitely black-red. We also have Korvold, though. We could be like a sacrifice deck. Korvold, letting us sacrifice a card when it enters the battlefield or attacks, and whenever we sacrifice a card, we get a +1/+1 counter on Korvold and draw a card. We also have the Gitrog monster sacrificing lands, so we have a sacrifice theme going on already between those two cards. Yeah, I guess Jund Sacrifice is probably what they have you building around in this color scheme. So yeah, Korvold actually makes a lot of sense here. We will take it over the Blood Crypt and kind of solidify ourselves into Jund here. And now we have a really clear goal for what we want to do, which is get a lot of cards that sacrifice stuff. So now we actually would kind of be interested in that Kazul's Fury we saw earlier. So we have the Path to the World tree here, which is going to be good mana fixing, grabbing whatever basic land we need when we play this, and then later on, maybe if we do have enough dual lands, we have just a little splash of white, little splash of blue to be able to use that sacrifice effect, which is a pretty powerful one, a miniature ultimatum. So we could take that if we are a little bit bold about splashing in white and blue, splashing in the 4th and 5th color, or we could just take Temple of Abandon. That's a nice, simple pick. No risk here really at all. Just get the dual land, the mana fixing for the 3 colors we already are. I think I'll play it safe here and just take the Temple of Abandon. Now we have Llanowar Elves, I suppose. Ramping up is always good. We also have Replicating Ring if we want something taps for a mana of any color, although this gets on the board a lot slower, so it doesn't ramp us up as quickly. We have Breeding Pool if we want to be splashing in blue, or in Search of Greatness. This does seem a little color restrictive here, needing double green. But it does let you cast things for free. This would be an interesting card to try in this cube at some point, but I think I'm just going to take the other ramp here right now. It's kind of like a miniature Fires of Invention, because you do get to cast your spells without worrying about what color of mana you have towards casting them. So now we have Cultivator's Caravan or Phyrexian Arena. We are probably like mid-range, somewhat control-y here, so Phyrexian Arena should be pretty nice. Although Cultivator's Caravan would also help with the mana. Hopefully I can get enough dual lands to just do that. This is an easy Fauna Shaman here, only thing in our colors outside of a Guild Mage's Forum, which I don't love, since it does require an additional mana to get that mana of any color. Shimmerdrift Veil, I guess, or the Bristling Hydra. Yeah, this is just like a 4/3 that can give itself hexproof once, so it protects itself from targeted removal one time, so that's like fine, but not that exciting. We already have some threats, Leyline Tyrant, Gitrog, Korvold. Just grab a Shimmerdrift Veil there, I think. And Electro Dominance. And don't think I'll be playing any of these. I'll have to be very multicolored to play any of them, so I suppose I'll take Rien, because she really buffs all of your multicolored stuff. So if we do end up splashing in a 4th or 5th color, then I think Rien would be the most powerful out of those for that kind of deck that is doing all of that splashing. Okay, what do we have now? Oh my god, a really good pack where I do want multiple of these cards. I want Escape to the Wilds as a powerful draw spell that also lets us play additional lands. Dryad of the Elysian Grove as a great mana fixer that lets us play additional lands, and Murderous Rider as a removal spell and a life-linking body, all on one card. I like all 3 of these quite a bit. I think the first I'm going to take here might be Escape to the Wilds. just a big, powerful one-time draw spell. Basically just 5 mana, draw 5 cards, as long as you can cast all of those by the end of your next turn. Although maybe we're missing more mana fixing than anything else. We only have the 2 dual lands and that's it, so maybe we're supposed to slam down Dryad first. Help the mana. I don't think we'll wheel any of these cards between these 3. I'm going to take Escape to the Wilds. Might be a bit of a bold choice there, but I'm hoping I can just get enough fancy lands, dual lands, and stuff like that to make sure that my mana works out well here. But I am going to have to take them pretty highly to where I might just take a Dragon Skull Summit here. There are other cards in our colors, but Angrath doesn't strike me as a particularly powerful card. It can kill smaller creatures with mana value 3 or less, but there aren't a load of those running around in this cube. And then it just like slowly discards cards from your opponent's hand. So I don't love Angrath. Rakdos is always fun. You get to flip a bunch of coins. For every card that you flip tails on, you get to destroy it. And Beledros Witherbloom, pretty big, like a flying Verdant Force here. Flying 4/4 that creates a pest during each player's upkeep. It's like there's just more powerful, big 6-7 mana cards. I feel like those are pretty replaceable in this cube, whereas the mana fixing, I'm just gonna have to get a ton of it if I can. So, again, while those 6-7 mana cards are all really fun, I feel like this cube just has a lot of big, high impact 6 and 7 mana cards in it in general, so we can pass up on them here and just take other ones later when we know that our mana is all perfect. I'm going to take Sfella here over the Blightstep and Searstep pathway, or the Thriving Moor, and the reason is this is a little less replaceable. Svella's nice in that she can create Icy Manaliths, which can mana fix us and ramp us into our very high mana cost cards, and is also a bomb on her own with that 8 mana ability, looking at the top 4 cards of our library and casting one of them for free. So she's not as good at mana fixing us as just like a dual land would be, but the fact that she both mana fixes us and is a big bomb means I'm pretty happy to take her there. But yeah, now I'll take a Woodland Cemetery, I think. Although Finale of Eternity is very good, Reclamation Sage and Gadrick are just okay. So it's between Woodland Cemetery and Finale of Eternity for me here. Yeah, the fact that this just kills 3 creatures. You spend 5 mana, kill 3 things with 3 toughness or less, so if you're against an aggressive deck, that's just a one-sided board wipe there. And if you do get into the late game and spend a load of mana on this, it does destroy basically anything and return all your creatures from grave back to the field. Finale of Eternity is really good, but I really don't want to have any mana issues here. We've got some removal already. I'm going to take the Woodland Cemetery. We're going to be, as I said before, taking mana fixing, unfortunately, very highly. So Brain Maggot, Unburial Rites, Nightmare Shepherd, and Eat to Extinction. We have 7 creatures right now. Do we have great enter the battlefield effects? No, but we have good effects in general on the creatures, to where even if you have a 1/1 version of most of these creatures, they're still okay. So Nightmare Shepherd might be interesting here, so when our creatures die, we just get decent 1/1 versions of them. Although we could just take like Eat to Extinction for good removal. I don't think this is an Unburial Rites deck. We're not really milling ourselves. Although Fauna Shaman does work with it, discarding a big creature. Now, what do we got? Innocent Blood. Each player sacks a creature. So with this, ideally, we cast this when our opponent only has 1 creature out and it's a good creature. It also works with our Korvald. It's a very cheap piece of removal, essentially. And we don't really have anything comboing with the Evolution Sage. No +1/+1 counters outside of Korvald, I think. Yeah, Korvald is our only +1/+1 counter card, so Proliferate isn't doing much for us. So I like just the Innocent Blood here. Now we could take an Agonizing Remorse. It is good to have interaction to stop your opponent from doing whatever their plan is, which Agonizing Remorse definitely can do if you cast it early in the game. It is a bad top deck late game though. Or we have Domri, which is great if we have a lot of creatures. This will work as a removal spell with the fight ability, or just helps us ramp into our bigger creatures and makes them uncounterable. Agonizing Remorse or Domri is the pick here for me, not Magmatic Channeler. I think I'll go with Domri. We are starting to get a lot of creatures here. Can have the Hour of Devastation now as just like a safety button, a safety valve here. If things get out of hand and our opponent's got a better field than us, just blow it all up. Seems fine to me. Does blow up all of our stuff, but again, we can just not cast it in any position where we have the better board state. I like that better than Simut. Pelucranos, I guess we did wheel a card out of this pack, but again, we did not wheel the Murderous Rider or the Dryad, unfortunately, which is the ones that I wanted to wheel the most. So sad about that, but we get a Pelucranos here. Big old 4-mana 6/6 that can fight some stuff, and it can come back from the graveyard by exiling 6 other cards. Very powerful escape effect. It also comes in as a 12/12 when you escape it. And here we still see those 6/7 mana bombs, Beladros, Witherbloom, and Rakdos the Showstopper. So that is definitely nice. With a bit of a sacrifice theme, I think Beladros could do a lot of work making those pest tokens. I think I will take Beladros over Rakdos here, but both of these cards are really fun. Now we have Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. I don't think we have that many legendary stuff. It doesn't say on this list. We'd have to look through here, which would take a long time. Yeah, I don't know if we have enough legendaries for Vile Offering, but it is a very powerful card. I think it's enough stronger than the Ooze, and the Ooze is the only other card I'd take out of there. Then that I'm just going to scoop it up here, and we'll see if we can have it pan out. Now we have Lifecrafter's Bestiary or Reclamation Sage. Main deckable artifact enchantment removal, or just like a draw engine, scry engine. I guess I'll take the Bestiary there. Nikki is not going to be good in here. I'll take the Pathway. And some random stuff. Actually, Season Spoils might not be terrible in here. Get a treasure token, and we can sack that treasure token when we have like a Corvold out for super value, or otherwise just use the treasure token to fix our mana, just in general. Alright, so here we have Crux of Fate, another Wrath effect. That seems pretty good for us. We have, I guess, Karn as just like a draw engine. Don't know how I feel about Rushed Rebirth. Just doesn't seem that great unless we have one specific creature we're always wanting to find. I don't think we really do. Yeah, I think Crux of Fate seems pretty solid to me. I'll scoop that up. And now dragons definitely go up in value for us, but I think a lot of people are going to be interested in dragons in general, so I'm not sure how likely we are to be able to scoop them up, especially because I am likely be taking dual lands over anything else early in this pack, because now we are in pack 3. This is our last opportunity for more mana fixing, and we don't have a ton, so I'm probably just going to take a Rootbound Crag here. Over Cut to Ribbons, we already have some decent removal, and the Terror of the Peaks, we do have the big late-game bombs, but Terror of the Peaks would be really nice to wheel, as would the Cut to Ribbons. Either of those cards would be pretty solid. Now we have several options here. We have Karuga, Verdurous Gearhulk, and Doom Whisperer. Kind of like the Verdurous Gearhulk. It is an artifact, so it does randomly die to a lot of different removal, like Kologon's Command type cards, Reclamation Sage, but you do get those 4+1/+1 counters when it comes into play no matter what. Spread that against your, or amongst your other creatures. Really good with Nightmare Shepherd. Then it enters the battlefield again, and you get those +1/+1 counters again. Yeah, I like the Gearhulk here. I think we have enough cheap cards. I don't really want to do Karuga, although we only have 3. You know what? Now this can be a Karuga deck pretty easily here. We only have to cut 3 cards out of the deck right now. So we'll actually slam a Karuga, so we might be able to have a companion, which is always great value. Now, this is a little awkward because I like Scavenging Ooze out of this pack better than anything else by a lot, but we can't play it if we want to play Karuga as our companion. Maybe we just take a look at Coppercoat Outcast. +1 is to exile the top 3, and you can cast creatures from among them. -2 is like a polymorph. Get rid of one of your cards and then see what the next one is. I guess Callous Blood Mage is fine with a sacrifice theme if we get more sacrifice cards. But it's not looking like we really will. Now we have Stomping Ground, Gilded Goose, Deadly Brew, Blood for Bones. Well, this is unfortunate. We see 2 good sacrifice cards in this pack, Deadly Brew and Blood for Bones. However, we also see Gilded Goose and Stomping Ground, 2 great mana fixing cards. I want this pack. I want all 4 of these cards quite a bit. But I think I'll take Stomping Ground here. Taking it over the Gilded Goose because I think I will go ahead and do the Karuga thing, run Karuga as the companion, in which case we can't have any cards that cost 1 or 2 in the deck. Ooh, now I can slam a Blooming Marsh. We can't play Lightning Bolt if we have Karuga. And Sir Conrad's just okay. There we go. Now I'm feeling a lot better about our mana base. And how many creatures are in this deck? 12? Although 2 of them are cheap, so we only have 10 creatures, so I don't know about Beast Whisperer. Do want a boatload of creatures to draw a lot of cards off of that. Could just take like Urabrask here. 5 mana 4/4 haste. All of our opponent's stuff comes into play tapped now. Like the idea of that. We're not really reanimating stuff with like Thwart the Grave. And Maskwood Nexus just seems a bit slow to me. Try out an Urabrask, another one of the Phyrexian Praetors. Now I'll take a black-green duel. I am taking this over a Feed the Swarm or a Ravager Worm or a Regrowth. But yeah, looking at the curve, we just have a bunch of big 5 mana stuff to bomb out. So we've got a game plan. Let's just get mana. Take a Vraska here, I suppose. Kind of the only card we can play.
I lead the Golgari now. Step aside or be crushed.
13 creatures. $11 creatures. So Guardian Project, we draw a card whenever one of our creatures comes to play, or Izareth, we maybe reanimate something later. Guess I'll just take Izareth here. Izareth's another legendary creature, which is good with Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, if we do get to do that. We did wheel Verdurous Gearhulk and Doom Whisper, which is pretty great. I do think Godfarrow's Gift is quite a good card as well, if you have a lot of stuff with Enter the Battlefield effects and a lot of creatures that are going to die often. So that might be an option, but I think I'll just take the Verdurous Gearhulk. I was pretty high on that card the first time around, so I'll take it on the wheel here. Our curve is pretty hilarious. Just 3s, 4s, and 5s. Just Jund 5-drops with our Karuga as the companion. Last pick, Dromoka's Command. I think Dromoka's Command is one of the best commands. Alongside Kolagon's Command, I think it has some very powerful effects. So I guess nobody's in like green-white here. 2 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature and have it fight something at instant speed. Or you can like counter a lightning bolt, prevent all damage that an instant or sorcery would deal this turn, or you can have somebody sacrifice an enchantment. Yeah, Dromoka's Command is another one that's just like deceptively powerful, similar to Kolagon's Command. Okay, so we took a bunch of mana fixing, so I think our mana base should be quite good here. And we took enough lands here, we only have to cut 2 actual cards out of the deck. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 legendary cards for Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. So I think we do get to actually cast this, which is cool. I don't think we have enough graveyard synergies to really want the Lamia in here. Like, we have the Vile Offering that can bring something back from the grave, but that's about it. I guess we have Pelucranos as well. We could just play this as a 5 mana 4/4 lifelink that throws a Pelucranos in grave. We have Izareth as well, but Izareth's mainly just here as a 3 mana 3/3 Death Touch that says Legendary on it, so we can cast Vile Offering with it. Yeah, we don't actually have that many cards that care about sacrificing. It's really just Korvold, so I don't know about the Seize the Spoils. Although it does give us the treasure token, which is good. We can ramp up from 3 mana to 5 mana with that, which is important. The majority of our deck is 5 mana. Two Wrath effects here, that's pretty nice. I feel like these are probably the cuts, these two, but maybe something else, maybe like a Vraska. But Vraska also helps cast Vile Offering if nothing else. Godzilla's just like a 5 mana 7/7 trample. That seems fine there. Again, not like a super synergistic or exciting card. It's just basically a vanilla creature here. Just 5 mana 7/7. Boom. Get that on the board. Yeah, I think I'll cut 2 of these 3. Yeah, I'll go with the Lamia, the Seize the Spoils here. And this will be our Jund deck. I'm just going to accept that the auto land suggester probably did a good job here, because we have tons of dual lands covering our bases. See if we can't Jund them out today. Now we shall be the Jund Monsters deck with Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I forgot to put Karuga in the companion slot, so we'll do that in between rounds here. That's hilarious. Alright, we'll turn one our Rootbound Crag here. This hand looks quite good. It's quite slow, but our deck is quite slow, so... Shimmer's Veil on probably black here, I guess, and then I can play the Pathway on green if I need double green. And now I have double black set up as soon as I play the Swamp, so I play the Swamp next, and then the Pathway as late as possible. Just in case I need a double black and another black in a turn. Well, now that I have Dragon Skull Summon, I think this Pathway is definitely going green. Yeah, with Lifecrafter's Bestiary especially, where we're going to want extra green mana when we cast our spells. Slam down a Nightmare Shepherd next turn, I suppose. Won't get to draw the card off of it, though. Don't have the extra green mana up. Just playing against Sultai here, green, blue, black. Augmenter Pugilist comes out. 3/3 trample. Once they have 8 or more lands, it'll be an 8/8 trample, which is pretty terrifying. Get rid of that land here. We already have 5, which is enough to cast basically everything in our deck. Watch, I'm just going to cast Korvold and sacrifice Lifecrafter's Bestiary, just because I'm not going to have the extra mana when I'm casting my creatures anyway. Although it does sit there and scry every turn, so probably shouldn't. Probably shouldn't. So Gonti, Lord of Luxury from our opponent, always a very powerful card in Cube. I'm pretty sure they've had it in every single Cube since its release on Arena. Digs through the top 4 cards of our library, gives that card to our opponent in exile for them to cast it. It's also a death-touching body, a 2/3 death touch on the ground. Thankfully on the ground, so we can still attack with Nightmare Shepherd. Well, they've got options. If it's taking them this long here. Got multiple cards to choose from. And they have chosen a card. Let's get to our upkeep here, Scry. Kolagon's Command. Fortunately, none of their creatures have 2 toughness, but I could blow up their Maze Mind Tome, make them discard a card. Yeah, seems good. I don't want to do that right now, though, because I want to just play a big card this turn. Like a Korvold or a Gitrog monster. Probably Gitrog monster first. Because it's a bigger, like 6/6. I should probably play Korvold first, right? Because then I get more flyers on the board. Problem is I might sacrifice a land here with Korvold and then not have the mana for Gitrog, but the same will happen with Gitrog because I'll have to sacrifice a land in my upkeep. Yeah, I think we play Korvold first. Just try to get there with flyers this game. I suppose I could sacrifice the Lifecrafter's Bestiary to make sure I still have 5 mana next turn, which does seem important. Although I do draw a card whenever I sacrifice something to Korvold, so I'll draw 2 extra cards here. Can sacrifice a land here and then draw a card, and then next turn I could attack in, and if I still haven't drawn a land, sacrifice Lifecrafter's Bestiary to draw another card. And I'll scry off of the Bestiary. Yeah, I should be able to hit another land here. So let's sacrifice Swamp here. I've got multiple opportunities to hit a land, and there we go. We just immediately hit it. Ooh, scrying on the Maze Mind Tome, so we might not be shooting that with the Kolagon's Command if they just plan to scry with it. We definitely would have time to if they're trying to draw the cards off of it. But I'm okay with them just scrying off of it. It's really the big card advantage of just drawing over and over that I'm most scared about out of the Maze Mind Tome. So we might just be holding this Kolagon's Command for later then. Which is likely. We're trying to get aggressive here. So if they don't clear out these dragons, we're probably just slamming down a Gitrog monster. That would be pretty sad if they have Crux of Fate as the card. They just destroy all dragons here, kill Korvold. We do get back a 1/1 Korvold, but that's definitely nowhere near as good. Domri, Anarch of Bolas is the card. None of their creatures are big enough to fight. I suppose the Augmenter Pugilist could fight the Nightmare Shepherd. That actually might be their best play here, because the Pugilist isn't really doing anything on the ground. It's not big enough to attack in against my creatures every time I play one. Yeah, they will trade with the Nightmare Shepherd. Alright, now I can Kolagon's Command to kill Domri and their Maze Mind Tome. Keep that Price of Fame. Seems like good removal to me. Land for turn, blow up Domri and Maze Mind Tome here. I guess they just scry with Maze Mind Tome and gain the 4 life. So blowing up Maze Mind Tome doesn't do much. It just stops them from giving them the ability to draw a card off of it instead. Oh wait, no, it needs 4 counters, so it won't go off this turn. Yeah, that's fine. They get 1 more scry off of it. And I can Kolagon's Command and Price of Fame. Sure. Oh yeah, we can bring a creature back from our graveyard as well. Maybe that's better. What creatures are in our graveyard? Just the Nightmare Shepherd? Can't play it this turn, but it would be good to have. No, I feel like I still have more cards to play, so I don't need to pick up the creature here. Like, I'm just going to pick up Nightmare Shepherd and it's going to sit in my hand stranded for a bit as I do other stuff. We'll attack in and sacrifice our mountain this turn so that we can still hold up the price of fame to kill a legendary.
I'll be back after I've licked my wounds. You'll see.
Pelucranos is the draw, not bad at all. That'll block really well on the ground. So they're down to 10 now, so they're dead to 2 more attacks from Corvald. If Corvald sticks around. Don't know how likely that is. Dryad Greenseeker getting tapped. If the top card of their library is a land, they get to draw it, and it is an Overgrown Tomb. So your opponent is on 4 colors here, white, blue, green, and black. Haven't seen any red sources from them yet, but they might be 5 color. Ooh, I like that they have to go ahead and I'm gonna see if I can kill that before they can do anything. Yeah, I can. I forgot what I was gonna say because I just got excited about being able to kill a Muldrotha. Let's grab a land. Don't really need Phyrexian Arena. Anyways, I'm excited about them having to pay the 2 life for the Overgrown Tomb. That gets them even closer to potentially just dying here. I'm gonna keep the land so I can escape to the wilds here. They're very, very, very close to dead. We get to play a Haster next turn too, which is very cool. One life. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, Yawgmoth's Vile Offering can bring back my my whatchamacallit. Well, it can no longer do that because I do need a legendary on the board to cast it. And this is the problem. Since my deck is all like 3 and 5 drops, the Escape to the Wilds is very unlikely to actually let me cast everything because it's also expensive. Although I suppose if I didn't have Corvald out, I would have a lot more mana than this right now. I'm probably supposed to just play one of these cards because they're going to go away next turn anyway, so I might as well play the Flyer here. Yeah, Leyline Tyrant seems like the definite option. Because now, if they kill this, if they don't exile it, if they just destroy it, I can just spend 1 red mana and deal 1 damage to their face, which would be lethal. So with Leyline Tyrant, they need a very specific kind of removal. They need to bounce it or exile it, and it looks like they don't have a way to do that, so they will scoop them up there. Leyline Tyrant's little extra effect there definitely coming in clutch. So 1-0 for Jund monsters. Some dragons in here, but not really a full dragon theme to make a huge use of our Crux of Fate or anything like that. So I'll just call it Jund monsters instead of Jund dragons. We're playing against Abra. Very nice username. I can get down with that Pokemon jam. Alright, 4 mana, Vraska, Leyline Tyrant, Escape to the Wilds. Not bad at all. I forgot to put Karuga as my companion. I think y'all are just going to have to deal with that because I am unlikely to remember. As I say in most of my videos, every time I see something wrong with the deck, just always forget in between rounds because I get too excited to just go head into the next round and see how the deck does. Lotus Cobra turn 2 from our opponent, who has a green-white land and a blue-red land, so they are just off to the races with the perfect mana at the start here. So this could turn pretty disastrous pretty quickly here. They'll have 4 mana this turn. Next turn they'll have 5 mana, and they'll have access to a mana of every color for Niv-Mizzet and stuff like that. Incubation Druid coming out. Alright. Alright, opponent. I'm going to need you to calm down. This is a very threatening start here. And this is definitely one of those situations where having Karuga as the companion would have been really good, because then this turn I've got nothing to do. So we would just throw Karuga in our hand and then discard one of these lands. Oh, wow. Yeah, opponent's deck is loaded. This is definitely the kind of 5-color deck I played, I believe, in my 2nd or 3rd draft. But it's got the Cavalier of Thorns that I love, the Dryad of the Elysian Grove for mana fixing, Fires of Invention, one of the best cards for casting things easily. Very, very good deck from our opponent. Let's get probably a Vrask out so I can get some Death Touchers so they can't really attack in.
I'm good at what
I suppose, though, the Cavalier of Thorns, when it trades with the Death Toucher, they do get a card back from their graveyard to the top of their library, and they've got options for sure. Elspeth conquers death. Elspeth conquering Vraska here.
I won't forgive this.
If they want to attack him with Cavalier, I'll let them draw whatever they want to draw. If they want to play Fires of Invention now that there are only 3 cards left in hand, that's cool with me. Although I suppose they could play a good Planeswalker, one of the Nisses. Should be a little threatening, but hopefully an Hour of Devastation can take them out. Definitely not worth sitting here taking 5 a turn in perpetuity. They choose the Fires of Invention, so they must have a very hard to cast card in hand. So I suppose we'll see that, see what comes from that later. Probably just slam down a Godzilla here, right? Don't think an Hour of Devastation does much for me. It gets rid of both of their mana dorks, but Fires of Invention just completely nullifies the need for mana dorks. Like, it completely makes you just cast spells without paying their mana costs, so these just do nothing for them once they have fires out. So I don't think it's Hour of Devastation here. It's either Escape to draw cards or just Godzilla to get something massive on the board. I don't think it's Leyline Tyrant. Although maybe, because that can get over those creatures, the Godzilla can trample pretty easily. I think I'm going to do Godzilla. It's also functionally a 7/7 because it cares about our toughness. It cares about our power as our toughness, so it won't die to an Hour of Devastation either if I do end up needing to cast that later. It'll survive that where Leyline Tyrant wouldn't. But now next turn, basically our only choice is going to be Leyline Tyrant because of Elspeth Conquers Death making our spells cost 2 more to cast. So we'll see what they want to do here. I was going to say, if they Fires of Invention, they can only play 1 other card this turn because they've cast 1 spell per turn. The other card is Skittering Surveyor. Alright, grabs them a basic land, so they can toss that on the field so they have 6 mana ready, which is definitely important for fires. They can only cast cards with mana cost less than or equal to the lands they control. Alright. So I think Leyline Tyrant it is. Do I want a Leyline Tyrant and Callous Blood Mage here, or just Leyline Tyrant? They get to return a creature Planeswalker from grave. I think we Callous Blood Mage and Leyline Tyrant, because then we could just exile their graveyard. Oh wait, no, I only have 6 mana, so I can only do one of the two. So it's Leyline Tyrant or Callous Blood Mage. Yeah, I'm gonna exile their graveyard. Sorry, gigantic flying awesome card. But I'm gonna stop Elspeth Conquers Death from doing anything here, which is definitely good. So Godzilla is a big old trampler, so any chump blocks they make are only stopping a couple damage, which is nice. Although it does give him the skittering surveyor back again, I suppose. So I could have not attacked. But if I attack in, I guess I get to deal 5 damage, but they get another land. Well, they didn't have another basic land in their deck? I guess they didn't have another basic land in deck. So yeah, that was just for the free damage stop. Get the surveyor back as a 2/3 instead. So when Ulvenwald Hydra comes out here with power and toughness equal to the number of lands they have, so it is an 8/8. Very big card there. We're going to need some of our targeted removal to kill that. It's even bigger than Godzilla. Suppose we could attack with Godzilla and then see if we get a Hour of Devastation to kill everything here. Or a Pelucranos now would also work. Pelucranos, again, just can't kill it by itself, but we could play Pelucranos and then use the fight ability. And then we get rid of the Hydra at the cost of Godzilla and Pelucranos. But we're fine with that because we have an Escape to the Wilds coming up. Hopefully they just have this one card left in hand. Hour of Devastation could turn things around for us if they take this block with Ulvenwald Hydra. Yep, I think Hour of Devastation should be pretty good here. Now they just have the one card in hand and whatever they top decked here, and we've got a couple powerful cards as well as a big draw spell here. Ooh, and Izareth is really good with our current graveyard, so I just want to slam down Izareth and Leyline Tyrant here. Probably holding this Escape to the Wilds for a while, because now I'm just going to start using the X mana ability to bring X mana value creatures from our grave back to the field. So we can get our Callous Blood Mage or our Godzilla back, which is very nice. A Braid going to kill our Izareth, unfortunately. So much for the corpse counter stuff, but a Yawgmoth's Vile Offering means that soon enough we'll be bringing something back anyway. Let's Escape to the Wilds here and see what we hit. There's Karuga, that should be in the companion zone, but still a decent draw on the deck in general. We've got tons of 3s and 5s to draw cards off of. Alright, let's get our mana. So now we can go Urabrask, all our creatures have haste. And then Verder's Gearhulk, that's mega lethal. Alright, yeah. And there is the concession from our opponent. That's 16 damage there. 12 on board plus the 4 +1/+1 counters. Okay. Because it came up incredibly recently, I'm actually going to remember to throw Karuga in the companion slot. Which means I need to put another card in here. I guess Seize the Spoils is coming in. There we go. Although our curve is really slow, so we could also just play another land, but Seize the Spoils does give us a treasure, so it's mildly comparable. Yeah, maybe it should just be another land. I think either way is okay. Alright. We're going first. This is a very bad hand in terms of mana. So I might just mulligan this. I think I will. Nothing's castable here. We need green mana for these. We need another black for these. I suppose no matter what, I get to just throw Karuga in hand turn 3. Any mana source hits Vraska. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan that. Yeah, this is much more like it. Do you want to hit my big Gitrog monster here? I think I'll get rid of Vraska here, actually. Keep the Blood Mage. So we have 2 green sources, 2 red sources, 1 black source, so we'll do Shimmerdrift Veil on black. Now we have 2 of each. Rootbound Crag. Should have just played Stomping Ground tapped last turn. I'm not used to having to actually think when I play my lands as just an exclusively limited player. I'm so used to just slamming down basics in regular set drafts. I think draw a card is the best on just like an empty board like this. We don't have a million ways to use those pest tokens. So our opponent's playing a Giganta, so they can tap that for 1 mana of every color, and this means that all of the cards in their deck only have 1 mana of each respective color, so no double green or double black cards, anything like that. Chamber Sentry coming out, definitely 5 color from our opponent then. They can use this to remove counters to start shredding our field away, and they can bring it back from the grave for 1 mana of every color, so they can keep doing that over and over. We'll play the Stomping Ground tapped this turn, because I'm just going to spend 3 mana and get Lifecrafter's Bestiary down so I can start scrying. And also so I can draw a card whenever I'm casting my creatures. Quandrix Cultivator coming out, grabs a forest or island, puts it onto the battlefield. And it's a 3/4 body. Alright, Chamber Sentry, what are you doing? They do have 1 mana up, so they can just kill our Blood Mage with that if they wish, if they so choose. Phyrexian Arena is the draw. So if I want to get maximum value off of Bestiary, I could hold off on playing Gitrog Monster till next turn and just play Phyrexian Arena or grab Karuga this turn. Definitely not going to Escape to the Wilds. That'll end disastrously right now, because I'll cast Escape to the Wilds and then hit all those cards and only cast one of them. And then I can't do Gitrog Monster. I'm just gonna grab a Karuga here, I think. We'll take it slowly. Your opponent still has 6 cards in hand and the companion. Tons of stuff they can play around with. Korvold Fey Cursed King, we've got one of those. Sacrifices the Chamber Sentry because it can just come back from the grave eventually anyway, and they want all of their mana, it looks like. Don't actually think Kolaghan's Command is great in this matchup. We get to return a creature, make them discard a card, but they have a lot of cards here. Yeah, I think I will get rid of it. Like it still has viable abilities, but not like excellent abilities, I think. So do I want to play Karuga here and draw 2 cards, or play the Gitrog Monster, draw 1? Either of them are big enough to attack into Korvold, unless they sacrifice a permanent elsewhere. Because if they attack with Korvold, I don't have to worry about how big it is on blocks. So if they don't attack with it, it's a 5/5. Karuga can attack into a 5/5. Yeah, we'll just play Karuga, draw a couple cards here. I think we want to draw into some big Wrath effects, because I expect a lot of big stuff coming up. Awkwardly enough, the Crux of Fate can't kill their whole board, because Korvold is a dragon. So we can either kill Korvold with this, or the rest of the field. Yeah, I would expect by the fact that they didn't sacrifice land there that they have some big spells in hand, so they might be playing some very massive stuff on us here very quickly. So one argument for casting Gitrog Monster there is that Gitrog's a 6/6, so maybe we could like play Domri and fight Korvold, but that only works if Korvold doesn't attack, because if Korvold attacks, it's a 6/6, and then it just trades into Gitrog. And a 6/6 will trade into Karuga as well, because Domri will give it +1/+0, so we could fight a 6/4 into that instead of a 6/6 Death Touch. So if Domris are out to Korvold either way, we're going to be losing a creature. Thieving Skydiver, going to take that Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Very rude. They're going to sacrifice it here? They are. Just grab the one card off of it immediately rather than sit there and scry off of it. Well, we can kill Korvold by fighting it with Karuga or just Cruxifading it. We really need to here because we're at 8 life, so we go to 1 if we don't kill it or block it. If we block it, all we have is a chump block. So it's really between Domri or Cruxifate here. I think I just go with Cruxifate, unfortunately. Then we don't have a Wrath effect as a backup for the rest of their field, but if I just play Domri, I'm taking 5 from the other creatures here. So I think I need to keep my Karuga out if I can. And destroy all dragons. Hostage Taker. Karuga is now my opponent's hostage. Hostage Taker's a really funny flavor card in cubes like this where there's all kind of weird stuff like I'm going to take your dinosaur hippo as my hostage. It's like, oh dear. Oh, well, Ral's Outburst will close things out. 5 + 3 is 8. Our whole life total putting us to 2 and 1 there because they took our friend Barney as hostage, which is very rude of them. Well, heading into round 4 here, 2 and 1, not a bad start at all. I think this deck is just okay. It feels like a 3/3 to me. Our curve is super awkward, and it's another very low synergy deck. It's just kind of a pile of good stuff again, except that this time we have very little ramp and a lot of just like 3 and 5 mana cards. Although I suppose we could always, if we didn't draft around the Karuga here, we could have had a Gilded Goose and a Llanowar Elves, have a little bit of ramp no matter what. This hand is definitely a little bit risky. But if we immediately draw a Swamp, then it all works out for us. Now we have double black for those on turn 3. So we'll play Rootbound Crag turn 1, then we'll go Swamp, and then Darkboar Pathway if we don't draw a different black source. Playing against another Jund deck here. They reveal Forest to play Necroblossom Snarl untapped. And a Leyline Prowler, 2/3 lifelink Death Touch that taps for a mana of any color. Very good card. We'll start Phyrexian Arena or Izareth here. Let's start Phyrexian Arena, drop a Pelucranos next turn. Izareth's not going to do much. A 3/3 Death Touch. It'll block Leyline Prowler and just trade, but that's all it's going to do is just make trades there. There's an Angrath from our opponents. Pretty okay discarding cards here. Pretty okay discarding Izareth, to be honest, because next turn I'm going to play a 4-mana card. We're going to play Pelucranos. After that, I'm just going to keep playing bigger and bigger stuff. Stomping Ground is the draw, as well as a Nightmare Shepherd. Forgot we're drawing 2 a turn. Angrath's a little bit scary here in that Angrath is doing 2 damage to us every time, and we do have a Phyrexian Arena also damaging us. So that's a little worrisome. I could just play Stomping Ground here and kind of lean into an Hour of Devastation trying to kill Angrath. But Hour of Devastation only does 5. Angrath's already at 5, so next turn Angrath will be at 6. I do need to play a creature here to kill Angrath. I think I will play Pelucranos. Use that to try to attack Angrath.
No fire, no steel.
Now, even if they play like infinite blockers, I could... I don't know what I want to discard here. Maybe Nightmare Shepherd. I think it's somewhat unlikely for me to get a million creatures on this board. Alright, well, Vraska's Contempt. Pretty much the perfect removal on Pelucranos. The exile makes sure that the escape will never happen. Alright, so the idea there with Pelucranos was that even if they played infinite blockers, we could Hour of Devastation. Pelucranos would become a 1-1, but Angrath would be down to 1 loyalty after taking 5 damage, so we just Hour of Devastation, clear the board, hit Angrath for 1 more. That was the plan there. Did backfire on the Vraska's Contempt. This might be just the Angrath Vengeance matchup here. Because I did say, I was like, Angrath just feels like a little too slow, doesn't do a ton for this cube, and now I'm just going to get devastated by an Angrath. Let's get a Leyline Tyrant out here, I suppose.
No fire, no steam.
Yeah, they're just beelining it for Angrath's ultimate here to close this game out. Don't know if we'll have time to escape to the wilds. I want Hour of Devastation because if nothing else, it keeps Angrath off the ultimate. And I like the fact that I can cast Domri and Price of Fame in the same turn if they cast a legendary creature. You think I will get rid of Escape to the Wilds. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn anyway, so I don't know if I need the big 5-card draw, especially because it's going to cost a ton of mana to do that. Ravager Worm kills Leyline Tyrant and hastes in for 4. We don't have any red mana up to shoot. I'll shoot Angrath for 0. There we go. Send the message. Alright. Well, Phyrexian's got us very low now. I think we're going to have to just Hour of Devastation here. Clear these creatures off the board. Otherwise, I'm just killing one of them. Taking 2 from Angrath. That'll put me to 1 life. Yeah, we have to Hour here. Because if I go to 1 life, Phyrexian kills me. Play the Temple and Scry. We hit a Kolaghan's Command. Angrath, unfortunately, is at 2, so Kolaghan's Command just puts Angrath down to 1. Does not finish off Angrath. I think well, I do have creatures in graveyard for Kolaghan's Command. It's 3 mana to cast. I'll have 7 mana total. So I can cast it for 3, pick up a 4-drop Leyline Tyrant or Nightmare Shepherd. Yeah, I'll keep the Kolaghan's Command here. I'll be getting rid of Domri, I guess. Or Price of Fame, just one of these two, because I do want the 7 mana to cast Kolaghan's Command plus a creature. Yeah, we'll get rid of Domri, because we're not going to cast Domri until we have a creature out. We're not going to have a creature out until after next turn, because we need to pick up one from grave. And Gonti is the perfect follow-up to scrying a card to the top, because Gonti's just going to get rid of it no matter what, even if they don't choose it. But I expect they will. I'm at 3 life here, so that puts me to 2 when Phyrexian Arena hits, and I suppose that the Kolaghan's Command is going to be coming in for lethal here. Yep, that's very much game in many ways. Angrath absolutely shredded me there. The Vengeance matchup, that is what happens when you talk crap on a card like Angrath. Angrath's going to come back to bite you hardcore. Definitely a very impressive game from Angrath there. I will not pass up on Angrath so highly in the future. That was some big time angry Angrath energy. Alright, 2-2 heading into round 5 against Bone Diddley. Another incredible username, so I'm excited for whatever happens here. If Bone Diddley wins, Bone Diddley's earned it. Although I would like to go at least 3-3. So I'm going to try my best to take them down. I don't know if I'm keeping this. I probably shouldn't. I've only got 2 mana and a lot of 4 mana plus cards. Yeah, we'll mulligan here. Uh-oh. Another 2-lander, but we have a Temple of Abandon now, which scries us. Suppose I'll keep this one, get rid of the Vile Offering, because it requires us to have a creature on board still to cast it, although we do have 2 legendaries in hand, so a little more likely to cast than usual. But I definitely like Hour of Devastation, Urbrask. I like the curve of Izreth, Leyline Tyrant, Urbrask, and then I like Hour as a backup plan. Yeah, I think I'm getting rid of the Vile Offering. Turn 1, this Temple of Abandon. Try to hit more land. Not a land. Get out of here. Alright, we did hit a Dragon Skull Summit, so we do get to start the curve with that turn 3 Izareth the Awakener. And a Stomping Ground is drawn as well, so we do get to play a turn 4 Leyline Tyrant if we want. Although our opponent does have a menace creature here, so they get to start bashing in for 3. Whenever they cast or copy an instant or sorcery, they get a 1/1 pest. And there's a ram through. That's going to clear out Izareth and get a pest token. And a Fauna Shaman as well. Just Golgari, good stuff here. All basic lands from our opponent. So, what do we do here? Probably do cast Leyline Tyrant. Although, if I play Blooming Marsh, I can play Stomping Ground untapped next turn and know that I can have Hour of Devastation. Does seem pretty important. Let's just play Blooming Marsh and grab Karuga here, leaving us open to casting Hour of Devastation next turn. Alright, slamming in for a bunch, putting us down to 11 now. And they don't cast any other creatures. They are possibly playing around a Wrath here. At 11 life, can I take it slow here? Callous Bloodmage does help do that. Gives us 2 creatures on the 1 card. Yeah, let's just play a Bloodmage, play a tapped Stomping Ground. Get some nice blockers here. It's possible I'm supposed to just slam down the Hour of Devastation there. But I do like waiting as long as possible generally on my Wrath effects to get as much out of their hand as possible. Try and make sure they have as few cards as possible to like regather a new board state. Do have Inscription of Abundance. Oh dear. Alright. Well, please don't have a way to kill the pest token, because if you do, I'm very close to dead. I take 9. Alright, well, I guess I get to chump block a Fauna Shaman. That's the most damage I can stop there, because Menace on the Sedgemoor Witch. Fingers crossed, please play a creature, opponent. Alright, well, no choice here at this point. But I did get the Inscription out of their hand now, so I did get 1 more card out of Hour of Devastating later. Alright, we have 3 green sources, we have 3 red sources, we have 3 black sources, so I have no idea what I'm doing with the Shimmerdrift Veil. Suppose red, so I could theoretically cast both of these in 1 turn if I get 9 mana. Pretty far off from that, but yeah, we'll just get the 4th red source, I guess. Maybe our opponent's hand is all interaction now, just removal spells? Uh-oh. Terragrid's Lantern at 5 life is pretty devastating. Oh boy. Oh boy. A non-land permanent? What? I can't sacrifice lands to that? Oh dear. Discard a card to lose 3 life. Discard a card to lose 3 life. I mean, I almost definitely discard a card here. Which one do I discard? Probably Urbrask? Well, I guess having creatures our opponent's control come to play haste means Urbrass could be an actual clock. Discard Leyline Tyrant, I think. Now I'm gonna just start discarding lands. I'll just go Urbrask here, start hasting in. Then next turn I can cast Karuga, haste in with Karuga. Any creatures they play can't block because they come to play tapped, so we get to hit for 9 next turn. They do get to use the Lantern twice here if they're all in on the Lantern, but hopefully Karuga here draws us extra cards. Gives us more cards to discard to the Lantern. Another reason I wanted to keep Karuga pretty hardcore. And Escape to the Wilds as well, just to have a bunch of cards to play. And if we hit more lands with that, that'll be nice, because then we can cast more of them quicker. Alright, Mythos of Nethroi to just kill that. Well, I drew my 1/7 mana card now that I discarded my 7th land, so that is rough. I think we Escape to the Wilds here, probably, over Karuga, because Karuga's not even going to draw a card now. To play 2 lands here, which means we get to cast one of these. Svella seems pretty good. Domri seems okay. Cast Svella first. That gives us a creature that can attack next turn. Probably gonna have to just discard Beledros, although Beledros does give us pest tokens, which gain life, which is really good. Suppose we're discarding Karuga now? But we could draw so many cards off Karuga next turn because we can cast Domri into Karuga. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 mana. We pay 3 for Domri, then Domri gives us 1 mana, which means we'll have 6 mana after that, so then we could play... I guess we were just playing 2 cards next turn, so we could just play Domri and Karuga. Oh. Yeah, we'll get rid of Karuga. Beledros really counteracts this Tergrid's Lantern hardcore by letting us sacrifice those pest tokens. They're going to be tapped out now. They're green-black, so they probably don't have like a lightning bolt, so I'll lose the life now. And we just slam down Beledros, because that's by far our best way out of this. By giving us pest tokens. Alright. Kogla the Titan Ape to fight the Beledros. That's pretty bad. Can only use the Lantern once here now, though. I kind of want to just discard the Gitrog monster here. I don't want to sacrifice Svella, and I do like having a pest token to chump block Kogla. But I suppose if we just play Gitrog monster, then we could just have a 6/6 to block Kogla. But I'm thinking about using Svella's ability instead, digging for cards out of the top 4. Yeah, we'll sack the pest, I guess. Phyrexian Arena? Alright, we're discarding that Phyrexian Arena. That's for sure. So do we go for a random card, or do we just go with the Gitrog monster here? Probably go with the Gitrog monster. A guaranteed 6/6 that can trade with Kogla is probably better than spinning the wheel on the top 4, even though there are cards in our deck that would be better in this position. We don't know that we're going to hit them in the top 4. And if we get one that's worse, we just die on the spot. Ooh. Alright. Hello, Liliana.
Warrior Queen Necromancer has a nice ring to it.
Have us both sacrifice 2 creatures. Alright, well, I suppose I'll make a Manalith so I can sacrifice a Manalith to Tergrid's Lantern.
They were a lousy servant anyway.
We're never casting this Phyrexian Arena, so I think I'm going to discard this before I sacrifice the Manalith. because we might live in a world where we hit like something that draws a card or two and we need that extra mana. Yeah, I don't see any world where I'm going to cast a Phyrexian Arena. Are we dead? I think we're probably dead. We take 2 from the swamp. If Tergrid's Lantern gets us one time, we're dead. So if they have enough to untap it twice, we die. They do have enough to untap it twice. So they do it once, we sacrifice the Manalith. They do it again. And we discard the Rootbound Crag. And then they do it one more time, we just go to 0. Alright, well, if I gotta lose the chance of a 3-3 here, I'll lose it to Bone Diddley. Reminds me of that animated emote on Twitch, the little dancing skeleton. The best emote. Man, I can't wait for October. Well, anyways, that is going to end today's draft. Just a 2 and 3 out of this John deck. Definitely some issues in the deck. It's pretty slow. 1,000,005 drops. Probably, again, Karuga's underperformed every time I've tried to do the Karuga thing. So I think this is a deck where I should have scooped up just more cheap cards to ramp into the bigger stuff a little quicker. Because that was one of the biggest flaws in the deck. Like, some of our powerful cards as well are weaker when we have a ton of 5-mana cards. Like, cards like Phyrexian Arena and Escape to the Wilds that are these massive draw effects. Even Korvold and the Gitrog monster drawing additional cards. Drawing a bunch of cards is good, but when you're drawing so many cards and having a bunch of 5-mana cards to where you can only cast one spell a turn anyway, you're not really maximizing the value that you're getting off of that. So just did not function like a well-oiled engine this time around. Not my best draft deck, but 2 and 3 is certainly not the end of the world. Could have done a lot worse with it. So I'll take the 1,000 gold, the 40 gems, and I'll run with that. So once again, that is going to end this video. If you have been enjoying the drafts, just make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. Those are the good things you can do to let the YouTube algorithm know that you are enjoying the content and you want to see more of these videos. So again, we'll be playing a lot of Chromatic Cube drafts, maybe a jump start here and then until next Thursday, the launch of Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realm on Magic Arena. Very pumped for that, so I will definitely see you for a lot of drafts then. And until then, I will see you again very soon for some more Magic Arena.